The statistics for boys to get involved with porn are as young for boys as 10 years old, and for girls, 13 years old. And 7 out of 10 men are struggling with a porn problem. That is huge. This is what eCare is talking about the internet, and it was even bigger and a bigger problem as I even thought it was. How do you deal with this problem, and then how do you help the people that get stuck in that? Because it impacts families, it impacts relationships, and it makes people more angry. So how do you turn that around? With me is a very special guest that is actually counseling and coaching and working with people at this field, and his name is Trevor Blosser. Trevor, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So what brought you to want to help people with this problem?
It kind of naturally adapted into what it is now. I started working with men that were having struggles with different things, whether it was masturbation or porn or alcohol, and just was trying to figure out why they were choosing that. And then finding that that was actually a Band-Aid for other issues was actually what started showing me what we were supposed to be going after and working on.
Now, I've never heard that before till you talked about it, that it's a Band-Aid to cover up something else. Can you share a little more about that?
Sure. If somebody is, let's say they're 40 years old, they're single, they haven't met somebody and they're thinking that their time clock is coming up, they don't know what to turn to and what's going to make them happy. And so they find these things that will turn and help them to feel happy again. And so it could be porn, it could be masturbation, it could be alcohol, it could be any number of things. It could be sex.
Yeah.
But those are the things that it's actually a cover-up for the real pain of where they're at.
So what I'm hearing is that they don't feel good enough anymore for this world, and they numb it.
Yeah,
They numb
absolutely.
it. So you have people that are dealing with this problem. How do you help them? It's everywhere.
It's everywhere, and it's easy to get a hold of.
Exactly.
I mean, every corner market has
exactly.
every one of those things.
So how do you help people like that?
First off is just to give them praise on where they're at and to just admit that they got something going on, something that they want to work on.
You praise them for doing porn?
No, for wanting to wanting to make
I'm
that
sorry,
change.
I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. No, wanting to make the change. So for me, when I see somebody that has the ability to admit that they have an issue that they want to work on, that is a big step in what they want to actually make a change for. And so that's the first thing to praise. And then it's a step-by-step battle.
What is your step-by-step process to help people?
Step-by-step is first, let's figure out why. What made you choose that? What made you want to watch porn today? Well, I had a bad day at work. Okay, so how do we change that? What do we shift? What kind of mindset can we change on that? What are you making a bad day at work mean? It's not a target against you, it just was a day. So we don't have to go back home and choose porn or any of these other things. It's not necessary. We can find other ways to fill ourselves back up.
And it works.
It does, yeah.
And they, every time I remember, I used to be an addict, with an eating disorder. It was the hardest thing to stop because I had to take that control when I was out of control. And then I ended up relapsing on top of that too after I finally did get it right. So when you have people that relapse and that are fighting with that, how do you minister to them on a moment like that?
First, again, it's a big thing about praise and forgiveness. So one, praise, they made it 7 days. They've never made it 7 days before. That's awesome. Hey, this time you made it 15. You're getting better. This isn't a thing to be knocking yourself down because you made a mistake. Let's go for the positive. You made it 15 days. You've made it 35. You made it 57. It's a positivity thing that you want to really build into people, that they're making a good change in themselves.
I can relate to that because when I relapsed and went back to the counselor, I told her, hey, I relapsed 3 weeks. And she said, well, how long did it take you the first time? 17 years. The second time, 3 weeks. Barbara, great job. So you're using positive reinforcement to help them feel better about themselves, to help them to overstep that problem.
Absolutely.
So how does porn affect families?
It affects them heavily because it's a Band-Aid for something. So there's already something that's causing this thing to want to show itself. And then when somebody was to do it, for example, if I was to do it, I would feel shame that I did it because it's not honoring to my wife, it's not honoring to my household. And so now I feel shame about what I did, which is now causing me to want to feel good again, which now causes me to want to step into that habit again because it made me feel good for a moment, and then it's a cycle.
Vicious cycle.
And so getting to break that cycle, even if it's a small stint, 3 days, 4 days, hey, we're breaking that up. We're doing.
Now, of course, I've heard of men being in porn, but also women. You know, it's on both sides, but often I assume it's more the men than the women. It could be both. So if you have a man that's into porn and he has an addiction and he wants to get better, but the woman is getting super frustrated and has lost all trust, how do you minister to them? I assume you do it as a couple and not alone at that moment, but what does that look like?
Yeah, it's pushing for open, honest communication between the two of them.
That's tough.
It's hard.
Is tough.
And it's also what's going to give the biggest breakthrough, because if you can be open and honest, you don't have to lie, and there's none of those negative feelings that are again trying to circle and brew that negative thing again. And being honest with the struggle, at least you're being honest of, hey, Barb, I messed up today. I need your support, and know that I want to make a change. That's going to come off way better than, oh yeah, I've been doing it for 10 years. It's a different conversation. Yeah.
Now, if the woman gets angry that moment, because I'm sure that happens, because she, I assume, doesn't feel valuable anymore, she doesn't feel good enough anymore, all that stuff takes place. You're dealing with the whole scope. How would you minister to her while you're trying to help him?
Yeah. It's definitely understandable that they would feel that hurt. It's a very worldly thing of like, I've been hurt and I should feel this way and it's okay. Also, is that feeling helping is it benefiting the relationship? That's the question I always ask, is like, hey, is it benefiting him if you're pulling away and you're not having sex? Because guess what he's wanting to have? He's wanting to have that connection. And if you pull away, it's actually pulling away from the possibility of helping him edge out of that, because the connection, that relationship.
That's correct.
So it's all about just that open, honest communication, understanding that, yes, she's going to be hurt, but God calls us to forgive, right?
There is also a trust issue now. So do you expect in the counseling for whoever is the other side to trust the other person with the addiction immediately?
No.
So how does that work?
I always, it's a rough reference, but when they talk about trust is earned in droplets and poured out in buckets, it's a true thing. And you get to realize that it's a process. I went through a similar thing with my wife with a masturbation issue. And I got to show her over time that she could trust me. I made the changes and I didn't do that anymore. But it wasn't an instant she just believed me. It was a question and I was honest.
Trust had to be rebuilt.
Yeah.
So, and it's working. Now, you didn't always believe in God. You've known God maybe for about 5 years or so.
Correct.
So I assume you looked at it differently before than now. But what brought you to God when you were so indifferent about Him before?
Yeah. I tried for several years before I found God, just to try to understand what was the idea behind Christianity, what were people getting out of it. And God shocked when I walked into a couple different churches in town here, because it was like, what is happening in here? This is not my normal. Finally,
you're talking about Bethel.
Yeah, absolutely. Got invited to an encounter service. This is my first experience of Bethel, like an encounter evening Friday night service, and it was amazing. And then I was shocked and scared. Getting to see God for His true light was really what helped me to get saved. It was really seeing He's good. He gives good and wholeheartedly, whether you're doing well or not. He loves me and He forgives me and He wants to see the best of me. And that was really what helped me to get saved, was knowing that He wants the best for me.
Now, you used to have a certain question that you challenged God with. Why does God bless people that are doing the wrong thing?
Yep.
So did you ever get the answer for that?
I did. I asked, and I believe it was Abraham when he was going into Egypt with Pharaoh, and he was lied about his wife Sarah. And so Pharaoh was going to marry Sarah and found out, and it was like this shock factor of like, why would you do that? You could have made me sin. That's not right. And so he sent him out of Egypt, and then he blessed him with all this land and treasure and all this stuff. And for me, I just couldn't understand, if we're supposed to walk this Christian life, if people are walking this Christian life and they're doing lying things, negative things like that, why would he get blessed? Why would he get all these good things? And so for years, I asked people, why? explain this story. Explain this to me. This is what's holding me back from understanding why. Why? A lot of people gave me that classic, some things are not meant to be known.
It's true, though. It is true. Yeah, it is true. Yeah. So that didn't help.
No, because for me, this is the door that it was being closed. And so you're like, well, if I'm not supposed to open this door because I'm not supposed to know, then how am I supposed to ever get to the other side? And so I finally met with a couple of people on the senior leadership team at Bethel, and they said, at that time, there wasn't the hard script testament, or not testament, the laws, the do not covet thy neighbor's wife, and all those things. They weren't those things. So as we may see it now, it's different. So that was what really helped me with it wasn't, the laws weren't set at that point. So then I could actually allow that to not be a boulder holding me back, and I could move forward.
That makes sense. Yeah. And as I hear you speak, it is fascinating to me, because what was holding you back in the past, with people are being held back right now with masturbation and porn and all that stuff, and coaching and issues, the indifference of the people that you're working with by going back to bad habits is actually, you've become the answer for those people of where you used to be stuck yourself in a different way. Yeah. Have you ever thought of that before?
I hadn't until now. So
because it kind of works together, but it's not the same completely, right?
Yeah.
So I want to, let's say somebody's really struggling with porn right now, all right? What would your advice be for them right now?
I would find somebody to help them hold themselves accountable.
All right.
Hey, I'm just going to throw out a name, Gary. I have this issue. I'd like for you to check in with me every couple of days and make sure that I'm not struggling in a certain area, or just tell them the area that they are struggling.
Yeah.
Because if I'm struggling in my marriage and that's what turns me to porn, I need to be able to have somebody that can help me get through those struggles so that it's not showing its head anymore.
Yeah. Now, you're somebody that helps people. If they want to see your website or go to you, where can they find you?
My wife and I have a website. We do coaching together. It's called splendorcoaching.com. So easy to go there.
And then I want to thank you. I just want you to know right now, you have something right now in this show we have never, ever had before. And Trevor right here has a special business, and he brought us a gift today. barbtv.org. You see that? They're beautiful mugs. I want to be thanking you for being one of our sponsors.
Thank you.
By helping us that. And if people want to learn more about you in your other company, where could they find you in that?
Yeah, that one is called splendidcreations.com, both for God-driven businesses. So we're doing what we can with all the things that he gives us.
And if you just give me one word, what is the biggest benefit for you when you're coaching others?
The breakthrough for them is honoring to me.
All right. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
And I just want you to know right now, God wants you to have that breakthrough. He wants you to step into the more. He wants you free from shame, guilt, distrust, and all that stuff. So I'm just praying for the marriages right now. I'm praying for the couples, for you to start being built up and to start fresh and new. God loves you. And so do I.